It's underway then. All right, hello. This is going to be the first part of the Mage 101 tutorial for Classic WoW. This is strictly going to be about talents today. We're just going to talk about a couple various builds that everybody needs to know, rating, why they're important, and what talent choices are what. We'll kind of go through, point out where flex talents are and what is absolutely critical. Not as a humble brag, but as a proof that I'm not totally full of shit. This is my Warcraft log as a reference. The greatest in the world, but it's still pretty up there. Most of this boils down to just putting in the work, gearing, getting some basic consumables. I don't flask. I almost never have world buffs. I just got full prebiz and the basic greater arcane elixir. And that's pretty much what this turns into. So I just want to give this to you as a baseline of like what you can maybe expect. We're going to go through the 3 major talent builds that you need to know if you're going to be a raiding mage. Classic WoW. The first one, this is Winter's Chill Frost. You should take Twitch chat off stream. I don't have it on stream. Anyways, back to the thing. This is Winter's Chill Frost. You need one of these and only one of these in your raid. The reason for that is this talent right here, Winter's Chill. It gives your frost spells a 100% chance to apply the Winter's Chill effect, which increases the chance a frost spell will hit the target by 2% for 15 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So, one person in this build is going to be buffing the frost damage of all your other mages. Normally this gets assigned to your lowest performing, lowest gear mage, and you end up helping out everybody else. I'm going to run through this really quickly. So the most important talent, if you take nothing from this video, always take 3 of 3 elemental precision if you are doing PvE content. This is functionally equivalent to you to 6% hit. For, like, let's use a rogue as a comparison. They get precision, which is 5 talents for 5% hit. We get 6% for 3 points. That's amazing. 5 improved frostbolt because duh. Casting time off. We're going to take ice shards, which increases the crit strike damage bonus by 100%. This means your crits do 200% damage instead of the normal caster 150% damage. Piercing ice, this is pretty self-explanatory. Increases your damage by a flat 6% across the board. Cold snap. Take it because cold ice block and your what have yous. Arctic reach. This increases your range. So the reason that this is important is specifically for Magmadar. If you are at max range with 2 of 2 Arctic reach, you actually can't get hit by the fear. So this means you have constant 100% uptime on that boss. Frost channeling as well. We have 3 points in this. Reduces your threat by 30% and mana cost of all your frost spells by 15. Just lets you squeak in a couple more frost bolts over the course of the fight. Ice block. So it's kind of a meme in my chat that I think ice block is a bad talent because it doesn't do damage. The counterpoint here is you're going to have to get this anyway to get down the tree. And there are a couple fights in, or namely Gar, that a lot of times you have your mage actually pull. So they run in ice block and get everything aggroed on them, and then the tanks can peel off targets 1 or 2 at a time without getting crushed and needing to use shield wall preemptively. I have 2 of 3 in improved Cone of Cold here. I don't think that this is strictly necessary. These are flex points to get down the tree. I've seen other builds where they try and split the difference between Winter's Chill and a PvE AoE spec, but they can't fit the 2 points in here for improved Frost Nova, which you really need to do that AoE spec. So I don't think that that's a good thing to do. You actually will occasionally use Cone of Cold in some of the AoE fights in Molten Core, so I just put the points here. You can use these however you like though. 5 of 5 Winter's Chill, duh, that's the point. Then we take Ice Barrier because again, a little bit of good. The rest of our points go in the Arcane tree. This is going to be pretty much the case for every mage. Arcane Subtlety to reduce the resistance by 10. This is not the same as hit. Go into that in the next section of this series. Get into the nitty gritty of that. So we also just needed to put 3 points in Arcane Focus. This does pretty much nothing, but it gets us down the next line of the tree. 5 of 5 Arcane Concentration. This also helps our mana problems. Magic Absorption. This also puts us down the tree. This is just a good talent. It's not going to come up too often. Especially if you do bring like fire resist gear to Molten Core with you, you can get some of your mana back, and it also just offsets a little bit of the incidental damage in the raid. Not a big deal, but you know. Also going to put 3 of 3 points in Arcane Meditation to get the mana regen, and 2 of 2 in improved Counterspell. This just helps pad out other areas. These are also, I believe most builds only put like 1 or 2 points in meditation and none in counterspell to split the difference over here on this spec. But I don't believe that that's a good idea personally. So more PvE focused abilities. So this is the first one. Again, you need one person in your raid and only one to play this spec. All of your other mages should be in this spec, at least for Molten Core and Blackwing Lair. So this is called Arcane Power Frost. It's actually an arcane build, but you're going to be casting Frostbolt with it. Much the same meme. We're going to take 3 of 3 Precision, 5 of 5 Improved Frostbolt, 5 of 5 Shatter, 3 of 3 Piercing Ice, 2 of 2 Reach, and we're only going to put 2 points into Frost Channeling this time. Hello, Sea of Whiskey. Thank you for the raid. So the reason we only do this 2 points here is because we need 31 points. Do you count as 2 viewers now? Yeah, I think you do, Flare. All right, so it's the same deal here. We're going to put 2 of 2 points in Arcane Subtlety. We're going to put 3 points in Arcane Focus just to move down the tree. 5 in Clear Casting. 5 again in Absorption. A point in Arcane Resilience. This doesn't do a whole lot, but it lets us move down here later. Again, 3 of 3 Arcane Meditation and 2 of 2 Counterspell. Arcane Mind, which is just 10% more mana to spend. Mind, which lets you instant cast a spell. Not a big deal, but it'll come up again when we were talking about like basic rotation stuff. Get Arcane Instability, excuse me. That is 3% spell damage and 3% critical strike chance. Great, flat across the board free damage. And then we're going to get the core of the build, Arcane Power. This is your big mana cooldown. So when it's activated, your spells cost 30% more damage, or cause 30% more damage, but cost 30% more to cast. This is your big nuke that's going to let you do all the extra damage. You're going to use this at the opportune point of fight, which we'll get into the nitty gritty again. The rotation and how spells work and stuff kind of video. So this is, again, all of your mages. If you're trying to maximize your DPS, this is what you want all of your mages except for the Winter's Chillbot. You want them to be back. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room in this one for flex talents. This one's pretty much written in stone. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and throw it in here. This will not be relevant until 5? Whenever Anchorage comes out, phase 5, I believe. That might be next. I might be getting... Anchorage onward is when this becomes relevant. Yeah, thank you. It is 5, okay. The reason for that is Molten Core is full of fire elementals. They have very high fire resistance. Blackwing Lair is full of dragons and stuff. They also have very high fire resistance, so fire spells just aren't going to do some damage. You want to avoid that. Also, the gear is not quite there until that point. Fire relies on having a significant amount of crit because it's built around this Ignite talent, which we'll talk about in a second. Again, it's pretty loosey-goosey in terms of talents. Or, excuse me, it's pretty rote in terms of talents. 3 of 3 Precision, free hit, dub. We're going to take pretty much all the same arcane talents. We're only going to get 2 points in magic absorption, though, and these can be moved however you please. I've seen a lot of people put them in arcane, improved arcane explosion or what have you, just because they want to. Fire Tree, 5 of 5 improved fireball, reduces the cast time. This is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to take flamethrowing, gives you a little bit of extra range. Again, self-explanatory. A little bit of range is good. It lets you wiggle out of some mechanics on some fights. Ignite is sort of the reason that we like fire. Every time you get a crit, you're going to put a dot on the boss that burns for an additional 40% of the spell damage over 4 seconds. So the observant among you will note that there is a debuff limit in Classic. So even if you have your Ignite rolling, it may get pushed off the boss a lot. But this is still good for a similar reason that Deep Wounds is good for warriors. It's free damage, basically, even if it gets pushed off. So we're going to take Pyroblast, we're going to take Burning Soul, which gives you 70% chance to not lose casting time, and more importantly, the 30% threat reduction. You do a lot of threat with fire. These 2 points are actually kind of flex, and second here. We're also going to take Master of Elements, so when you crit, you get 30% of the mana back with your fire spells. You're not going to really cast Frost. We're also going to take Improved Scorch. Your Scorch has a 100% chance to cause your target to be vulnerable to fire damage. Vulnerability, fire damage, dealt to your target by 3% and lasts 30 seconds. Stacks up to 5 times. So normally this is assigned to one mage to keep up all 5 stacks of Improved Scorch. It's not a separate build like Winter, but normally it's one person to do it. And that one person will probably want to put the points here, right, which increases the critical strike of Fire Blast, or Fire Blast and Scorch by 4%, just to... You also have improved Flame Strike, which critical strike chance on Flame Strike. We're going to take Blast Wave and Critical Mass. Critical Mass just increases critical strike chance, which again, is built around. Firepower increases your damage by 10%. And then Combustion. This is your big fire cooldown. When you activate it, gives you a 10% chance to crit, and then every time you fail to crit, it increases by 10% until you get 3 crits in a row. This is fire cooldown. So those are the 3 major specs that you need to raid. Again, I think just to throw back really quickly and talk about AP Frost again, the reason that you are still casting Frostbolts, get into this, I guess, in more detail with the rotation video, but it's mostly because Frostbolt is just a much more efficient in terms of mana to damage ratio spell than Arcane Missile is. So there's not really a functional arcane spec for PvE Classic. That is your 3 major specs, so thank you guys for watching. We will be back next with a, I guess we'll do basic rotation and cooldown usage, fight specifics where they apply. So that'll be the next video in this series.